Ben McKee, Eric Kane here at Anderson Training Center. Because Austin Price does not want to talk special teams, we're talking special teams. Eric, we just talked to Mike Ekeler, Chase McGrath, Paxton Brooks, and the biggest thing that stood out to me was that Roman Harrison up to 250 pounds, and Coach Ekeler said that he looks like a trained killer.
Might want to put a muzzle on Coach Ekeler moving forward, but no, Roman Harrison's a guy that really this time last year we saw had really put in the weight and had a good offseason. Of course, he was injured a little bit as well, but up to 250 pounds, like you said, and a guy that played a whole lot of snaps last year. Ekeler mentioned that it's like they had two starters at Leo last year with both Harrison, of course, and Byron Young. And Roman Harrison, when he met with us earlier in the week, said that he had back-to-back sacks, and the whole defense kind of went wild. And I think that's kind of been the feel so far in spring practice, is the defense is taking a step because of guys like Roman Harrison. But up to 250, he certainly looks the part, and that's a good thing for Tennessee.
Yeah, and I asked Coach Ekeler, hey, what does Roman need to do to be on the field more consistently? And he quickly corrected me and said, hey, he was on the field a lot last year. They feel like they have two starters there on the edge with him and Byron Young. So that was good to hear. The other thing that stood out to me from Coach Ekeler was the punt returners. He did joke and say that Tony Vitello has allowed Tennessee football to borrow Mike Concho and return some kicks, and that he's been great. But aside from Mike Concho, it's Jimmy Holiday. That's the first name out of his mouth. Kind of surprising to me, but Holiday is a speedster. You also had Trayvon Flowers back there, and of course, Squirrel White.
Yeah, Trayvon Flowers is a guy that's been back there for quite some time. Really, it's been in that group since he got on campus. Squirrel White, no surprise whatsoever because of the speed. It feels like they're just going to try to find a place, a role for him, whether that is a little role on offense, whether that's special teams. Of course, we'll have to find out in fall camp as well. That's no surprise. And then Jimmy Holiday is a guy that has gotten some good reviews so far this spring as he continues to push for playing time on the outside. Maybe a kick returner, you can provide that spark. He has returned a few kicks. Now he's been the up back, but now the deep back guy, and maybe that could be a role for him as well.
Yeah, and it's not sexy to talk about, but with Paxton Brooks and Chase McGrath, I mean, Tennessee's pretty set up at special teams.
Yeah, two guys that have done it. I mean, Paxton Brooks has punted in this league for a long time. You had Chase McGrath coming over from Southern Cal last year, had a solid year, and certainly coming back using that extra year of eligibility. And Tennessee is kind of set there. And that's a thing to where it's a third of the game. No one pays attention to it, but punting changes field positions. Obviously, if you can steal 3 points like you did at Kentucky last year, that's huge. Two veterans are suited well for Tennessee.
Last thing, we're going to have a scrimmage here tomorrow, the spring game tomorrow. One thing you're looking forward to?
I want to see the offense take a step. Obviously, the defense is usually ahead of the offense early on in the camp. That was the case for it last week, wrapping up week 2 of practice, the second scrimmage. Can the offense take a step? There's going to be a lot of guys out. That's fine. That's spring. But what's that offense look like? And can the defense shore up those pre-snap penalties? A lot of offsides and neutral zone infractions last week. I'll be on the lookout for that.
He's Eric Kane. I'm Ben McKee.